Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
Okay, so today we're going to be doing our June wrap up. So we're wrapping up the month and talking about our top 5 books in June. Stop.
For those of you watching, you have no idea how many takes it took for Jessica to get out the words June wrap up.
True, very true. Okay, so we're going to be giving you our favorite reads of June, our top 5 each. We're going to be going in order from 5 to 1. But before we do that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We still are doing our Road to 1K giveaway. And Mandy, tell them what they're getting.
So one lucky subscriber will get this dark romance reader cinch sack full of fun swag and twisted
Love by Anna Huang.
Yes. So make sure you subscribe to our channel and also follow us on Instagram for an extra entry.
Yep, and that'll be linked down below.
Okay, Jessica, how many books did you read during the month of June?
I read 42 books in the month of June.
You're kidding me.
No, why?
Me too.
No way.
Yes.
Yay!
How is that possible?
I don't know.
Always read more than me.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't know. But I did. I read 42 books in the month of June. I only had, what is it,
Still
7?
like I need to go recount.
Yeah. I only had 7 5-stars though.
Well, lucky you. I only had 5. So my top 5 are my 5 5-stars.
I do feel like the longer we do this and the more we refine our palettes and what we like, it's harder to get a 5-star out of me now.
Yes.
I feel like before I would just give out 5 stars like they were candy. But now I'm like, now do you really deserve that? I don't know. So yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go 5 to 1.
Yes, ma'am. Buckle up. My number 5 read for the month of June was Empathy by Kerr Dukey, and I'm talking about the first one in that series. This is about Melody, Blake, and Ryan. It is dark, it is twisted, there's detailed killing. Why did I like it? That's a great question. I'm not really sure. The writing was fantastic, so you get really sucked in. There are things where you kind of think you know what's going to happen, but different things will end up happening. So even the things that you sort of predicted, when they do happen, you're like, oh, wow. Because there's a lot going on in this book, but it's so well done. It doesn't feel chaotic or overwhelming. It just really kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. So this was definitely a different read for me because it's very dark, a little gory at times, but I loved it.
Yay. Okay, so my number 5.
I jumped right to you. Sorry.
You did. You jumped right to me. It's okay. It's all good. So my number 5 for the month was The Winter Before by Karen Crompton. This one is about a scarred, reluctant, reclusive hero, and it's in a small town. He was in a fire when he was a little boy, and I think it was when you're driving, it's the right side. So the right side of his body is burned. His face and his body is burned, and he hides because of that. So when he first comes to town, he's in kindergarten, and that's when he sees Olivia, and she is obviously the same age. She's in the same class. And then when the book starts out, like, he's made fun of. He has a really hard time growing up. His mom died. He doesn't know who his dad was, and he lives with his grandpa. So when the book starts out, we are at the funeral of that kindergarten teacher, and she leaves all that she has, so her home, to Olivia, who lives across the way from where Isaac lives. And they live out in this little area that's not very populated. It's just the two of them out there. And so she starts doing renovations on the house. And by doing that, she befriends him and tries to get to know him and pull him out of his shell. Loved this book so much. It's very low on the spice scale. Like, there is one scene in here and it like brushes over it quite a bit, but it does not matter. This book is just so good. It does not matter. Loved Isaac. I just wanted to take him home and cuddle him and tell him that it was going to be okay. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to be like, it's okay, Isaac. It's okay.
Aren't you so glad I introduced you to Karen Crompton's writing?
I am, but I'm really also glad that we got to meet her in Seattle. I love her. Just love her personally. Like, she's awesome.
Yes,
So,
I loved meeting her too. And when we met her, you had not read anything of hers yet.
this is the first book I read of hers.
And I remember standing there and you're like, that's Karen Crompton, because you could see her name tag from where you were at. And you're like, just go talk to her. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, because this was at the meet and greet, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, so this is the meet and greet. Mandy and I were being complete wallflowers like we were in high school. We felt that they should come to us, apparently. So
We didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, it was just, and we're supposed to just go up and start talking to people. And that is, yeah. I can talk once we get there. It's the whole going up to talk to people.
Yes, you can really talk. I'm sure Karen can
so,
relate.
So all this to say, if we're ever at a book signing event and you see us, please come talk to us. We're just looking for someone to talk to.
Please come talk to us. Jessica will overshare and I will be like, I told you not to tell people that story.
I know, but it pulls me out of my shell if they do. And if you're nervous, so are we. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, because once Jessica starts talking,
it's like this. It doesn't stop.
What I was getting at is that when we finally did talk to her, she, like, not only is she a fantastic writer, she's just a great person. Like, it was so much fun chatting with her. We spent quite a bit of time with her that evening, and then we talked with her a couple more times then, and we've kept in touch since Love in Seattle. We're going to Love in Vegas. That's why it's on my brain.
Yep.
And so not only is her writing fantastic, she's just a fun person too.
Yeah. Mandy, so what was your number 4 for the month of June?
Okay, my number 4 book for the month of June is Ruckus by L.J. Shen. And this is about Ruckus, although in the book he normally just goes by Dean, and Rosie, who also goes by Baby LeBlanc. This is book number 2 in Centers of Saint. But you do not have to read the series in order. It probably goes better if you do, but you don't have to read it. Like, it can be read as a standalone. So Rosie is really sick and Dean loves her, but Dean was also her sister's boyfriend. And it's kind of a little confusing as to why those two just didn't work out then and why he stuck with the sister for a while. Like, but that's just how it works out. And so anyway, this is about this like total bad boy Dean who is totally in love with Rosie. Rosie doesn't think that she should have love because of this illness. She doesn't want to cause anybody in her life pain. So it's a really sweet story about the bad boy who loves the good girl, who doesn't think she should be loved, but not for like the typical reasons you normally see in the book. It's because of her illness. There's also an adoption theme in this book that is discussed, and I absolutely love how it was handled. I talk about that in our 1-minute book recs, but fantastic book, Jessica. I think you've read it. I think that's why I read it.
Yeah, I have. Yep, it was good. My number 4 read is Heartbreak Warfare. This is by Heather M. Orgeron and Kate Stewart. Kate Stewart's the author of Flock that everybody and their mother has read. So anyhow, this is a love triangle situation. This is about Kate, is our or Katie, they call her both, is our heroine, and she is in the military. She's just signed up for a second term within the army, but she's never been deployed. And so when the book starts out, she is getting deployed to the Middle East. She's a nurse. Her and her best friend are going, but she's leaving behind her husband of 7 years and her 6-year-old son. So it's just kind of ripping you apart, that beginning scene. She gets over there. Her husband's name is Gavin. He is also high up in the military. He's like a captain or commander. He's pretty high up in the military, but he's staying behind with the son. They get over there and she meets the guys that are stationed with her on the base. And one of those guys is Briggs. Now, she knows she's attracted to Briggs. She stays away from him during this time. She misses her son and her husband desperately. Briggs is that funny, flirty guy who's always there making a joke and just, he's around. And one day he's like, okay, tomorrow we're going to go out and we're going to do this humanitarian mission. We're going to go out and we're going to see some of the local villages and do some things. And why don't you come with us? It's going to be safe. Why don't you come with us? So she does. And it's not safe. And there is an explosion. They're attacked. She and Briggs are taken by bad guys. And they're taken and they're held hostage. I want to say it was like for 3 months. It's like for a very long time. Nothing happens to them sexually, but he gets her, right? Like he's been held captive. She's been held captive. They watch each other go through horrible traumas during this time. And so he gets her. So when she gets home, there's this part of her that wants to be the same old Kate that she was, or Katie that she was. She wants to be the mom and wife, and she wants to be with her husband, and she wants to make that work, but she is dealing with so much trauma from what she went through, and she's not the same person. Briggs understands who she is, but there's also this extreme connection between the two of them. And so this book is about who's she going to choose? Where's she going to go? How's she going to heal? And all that good stuff. So love this book. It was amazing.
You ready for me to talk about it?
I'm ready.
Okay, it's Twisted Pride by Cora Riley, number 3 in the Kimura Chronicles. Obviously, 5-star read. This is about Remo and Serafina. And Remo he's the boss of Vegas. But he's like really bad.
and yummy. Don't forget he's yummy.
Okay, he's yummy, but he's very bad. Like, he's a very bad man who doesn't really think twice about stuff. And he's really ticked that the outfit from Chicago attacked his territory, and he's going to get even. So he decides to go against all their common courtesy rules of that weddings are sacred and that families are like women, children are sacred. And he goes right for the kill by going in and kidnapping Serafina on the day of her wedding as she's en route to marry. And the reason he goes for Serafina is because she is the outfit's boss, the niece, and she is marrying another underboss. So it's a very powerful, important wedding. So he kidnaps her, brings her back, and this is their story. I was really curious about how Cora Riley was going to write this because there's a lot of things that happen. I don't want to give any spoilers away that happen. And I'm just like, ooh, normally I don't like this, but I'm really liking how you're doing this. Like, she just wrote it so well. And the progression of their relationship feels very natural, and it doesn't feel far-fetched. Like, sometimes when you read kind of those forced marriages situations, this isn't a forced marriage, but I'm using this as a comparison. The forced marriage, you're like, is this really like how it would happen? Like, all of a sudden you're just like, take me. You know what I mean? How some of them kind of work. Yeah, you would, but normal people maybe wouldn't. And I just
like
really like how this is done. And I love how you still are seeing the interconnections because all the guys live in the mansion together in Vegas. So I like seeing those connections, and I'm very excited to continue on with the series. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really want to read about Savio.
You do, huh?
I do.
Yeah, I know Savio's not for everyone. I think you've got one more book in between this and Savio's, and I know that Savio's book is not the most popular, but I still loved it.
Who's next?
It's another Nino Chiara book.
Oh, okay.
They get a second book. So, and this one has more mafia elements to it.
Okay.
A little bit more. So, and you do see some of the Serafina stuff again.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. From their perspective. Okay, so my number 3. Y'all should know if I read a Grace McGinty book in the month, it is going to end up in my top 5 list. You guys should just know that. So I read Paper Heart by Grace McGinty. This one is obviously reverse harem because that's what she writes. This is about her heroine, Blake. She goes from a small town in Georgia, breaks up with her boyfriend, and goes to the small town in Georgia in LA. She goes from small town Georgia to LA, to go to a graphic design school. She gets accepted. She sends her money. She goes. Then she shows up there, and there's no graphic design school. Like, she's been scammed. So instead of going home to her critical parents and her ex-boyfriend and all the people that said that she couldn't do this, she decides to stay. And she has some money saved up. She's living in a crappy hotel. Every day she goes to this hot dog stand, like this food truck. Heinrich, we call him Henny. He runs the stand, and she's like, the opening book, when it opens up, she's like double fisting his bratwursts, and it's hilarious the way that goes. Grace McGinty has this way of having amazing one-liners in these books, and so she's looking. She goes there to steal his Wi-Fi. She's looking for a job. She sees one for a graphic designer in Beverly Hills, and it's 3 guys that live together that need a graphic designer for their websites, for their businesses. So she goes and she applies. They call her and say, or they text her and say, yeah, sure, come on out for this interview. She gets there and they open the door. One guy opens the door and he's like, you're a chick. And she's like, no duh. but her name is Blake. So they thought that she was a girl or was a guy. She's a girl, obviously. So she gets there. These three guys, they each have a website on this, or have a platform on this website called ClickHeart, and it is a subscription porn site, is basically what it is. And so they each have their own platform. One of them does pottery naked. One of them does cooks naked. He just wears a little apron. And then one of them just strokes things that are big and pierced and talks. And that's his platform. And she becomes their graphic designer. So that is their story. It is hilarious. I loved it. The one-liners were amazing. And I love the boys. So good. I mean, it's just
okay. I have been waiting for you to talk about this book again so I could give you shit about the fact that you will not read cartoon covers. Look at that cover, folks.
I know. And you know what the thing is thank God I am a subscriber to, I'm on Grace McGinty's Facebook group. I get her emails because she will send out pictures of the guys that she's using as inspiration. So when it has a cartoon cover and I can't quite figure it out, I can go look at those. Yeah, it has. I have to. There's exceptions to the rule every once in a while.
Or just be like me, Jessica. Every guy can just look like Travis Kelce.
Jeez Louise. No, I'm good. No. Okay, what's your number 2?
All right. You're going to be so pleased.
Oh, am I now?
Because let's see. 1, 2, 3 of my books on my top 5 are all books you told me to read.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sugar Daddies.
Yay!
By Jade West. So I've been talking a lot about this book, so I'm sorry I'll keep this really short since it's been in several of our other videos, but it is our June wrap up and it is my book number 2. This is about Carl and Rick. They get on the Sugar Daddies website because they are looking for a girl to join them. They're in a very established relationship and Carl really wants a baby. And Rick is on board with this, but Carl is much more focused on this. So that's how they meet Katie. They bring Katie in, and it's just such a great story. Like looking at that cover, you think this is just going to be totally smutty. There are definitely some great spicy scenes in this book, but it is so much more than that. Like you could honestly take those scenes out of this book and it would still be a fantastic read. The plot is there. The character development is there. There's so many things happening in this story that is just fantastic. So if you have not read Sugar Daddies, go read it. Let me know what you think. But again, I'm going to keep this short since I've talked about it a lot. It is just fantastic. I loved it. I was like so in love with all these characters that I would love to see there be a sequel to this book so we can like see what their lives are like in the future. Mm-hmm. Loved it.
Yeah, how many babies they gave her. So my number 2 is The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Everybody and their mother has been reading this book lately, but there is a reason why, and there's a reason why it's on my top 10. So this one is a fantasy romance. It is enemies to lovers, and it is a slow burn. I've heard this described as Divergent with dragons, and that's pretty much what it is. So this book is about Violet, and it is our heroine, and then we have Zayden. I always want to call him Xander. It starts with an X, and I think that's why. I can't figure it out. But Zayden is our hero. And so Violet has, in this world, you have different sections that like you go off and that's your job. So she was going to be a scribe. Her dad was a scribe. Her mother is like the big, I think she's a general. She is, she's the general to the Dragon Squad. And her dad was a scribe, which was a very odd combination. Her dad has since passed away, but she wanted to be a scribe like her dad. She's weaker. She's got, her bones are weaker. She doesn't have the muscle mass. She's small. And so that was going to be the perfect job for her. But her dad is passed away. And her mom's like, no, you're going to come and you're going to do this. And so she had 6 months to kind of start to train before she had to go through her first trial. So there's all these trials that they go through. Not everybody makes it out alive. People are dying at every single trial. It's very cutthroat, the situation. And so when she gets there, she's told to stay away from Zayden. Zayden's family ran a coup. Like, they were a rebellious group. There was a bunch of rebels, and they tried to take down the government. And because of that, his whole family and several other children's families were completely murdered, or like they were executed when they were little. And all of these kids who are from these families have a mark on them so that everybody knows that they are from these traitorous families. But he is a third year at this dragon school, and he is he's a leader in this group. And so when he sees that she's there, and she is the daughter of the commander who killed his parents, he wants revenge, even though she's told to stay away from him. And so he finagles it to where he is her leader of her group. And this is their story. There is dragons, there's intrigue, there's murder, there's death, there's just all sorts of crazy stuff that happens in this book. But there's a reason why everybody's reading this. It was worth all of it. Like, I am here for it. It was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I can't wait for the next book in the series. And dang it, I have to wait now. I don't think we have to wait too terribly long, but we do have to wait.
All right.
All right.
Okay, my number one book of June. Are you ready, Jessica?
I'm ready.
She's on your June list too.
Oh.
Calla Reed's
Yes.
The 16th Need. Her brand new book that came out this month is my number one read of the month. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love this. This is about Sable and Sam. Sable and Sam live very different lives. Sable lives in a trailer park, like single wide trailer, with her drug addicted mom and her 3 sisters. They all share one room in this trailer. So you can imagine like how tiny of a room that they are in. And Sam lives in a really nice house in the nice part of town with, I'm going to say, normal parents, but just your very like traditional upbringing, loving family, little sister type situation. And this, I don't even know like how to describe this book. It's just so good. Sam's a football star, and it starts off with what you would feel like should be that cliche trope of Sable has to tutor Sam. It does not feel like that at all. In all honesty, I wouldn't even mark this as that sort of trope because it just happens to be how their relationship starts off. But again, it doesn't feel like that cliche trope. So that is how they become friends, I guess. And Sam just kind of is like really instantly kind of attracted to Sable. Sable kind of is like, this is weird. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about you. But then she kind of lets her guard down a little bit and they start to really form a relationship together. This is told through flashbacks with their relationship. And then they drift apart. And this is so like in present day, they're just seeing each other after almost a year of him being at college. She's a year younger than him. So it is younger, but it doesn't feel like a YA book. It's just absolutely fantastic. And I don't even know what to say to get people to read it because it's just so good that I just, you know what, our motto, it's so good.
So good.
Just go read it. It's a standalone and it is just amazing. Calla Reed is just so fantastic that you just get sucked into that world and you don't even know that other things are happening in life. Like,
yeah.
So good.
Yeah, you just, once you start her books, you cannot put them down.
Yeah.
They're just that good. Which brings me to my number one, which is, it was a duet, but it's all Calla Reed. So it's Lady Golding and The Red Herring by Calla Reed. I'm going to put this down.
That is, I knew that she was making your list. And it's so, when I said that, it's just so funny that she's number one for both of us this month.
Yeah. I mean, she's number one for both of us. If that doesn't tell you to go read her books, I don't know what will.
Yes.
So she's like number one of our all-time favorites as well with The Surviving Trace. That is an all-time favorite. So go read Calla Reed.
Jessica's going to tell you about these books and she's going to say, read The Surviving Trace and then go into these. So if you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to get into like actually be like a six book commitment at this time. And her books are long. You could start with The 16th Need. It's complete standalone just to kind of get an idea of her writing, then go work on that series. You could also read Unravel to get an idea of her writing as
I just
well.
also too, here's the thing, like if you're like me where I'm listening about the 16th, it's calorie, so I will read it because I know she'll do it justice. But when I hear about kids in high school, it's immediately like new for me, even though I know that she will do it right, and so I will read that. But
it doesn't feel YA though.
I know, but it still has that. It's still, to me, my brain just goes, even though I have it, I'm gonna read it. It's right there. It's calorie. I'm gonna read it no matter what.
Yeah.
But you can also read. So we say there's 6 books, but the first 3 are their own set.
Yes.
Then you have the start of the Belgrave Dynasty, which is
King of the
one
South.
book, and then these 2. So you can break them up.
Don't.
You need to read them in order, but you
Let's be
can break
honest.
them up. Where you can read like the first 3 and be like, okay, now I need to break.
Yes, yes, you could. I'm just saying if you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to get started on that, you could try the 16th Need or Unravel if you just want to read a 1 book and done. But highly recommend The Surviving Trace.
Yeah.
That
Top
will
read
lead
of all
into
time,
this.
one of them. Yep, exactly. Okay, let's talk about this one. Okay, so you've heard us talk about The Surviving Trace, obviously. Yeah. So that's the time travel historical romance that Mandy and I swear by, like, top reads of all time. So this book, Lady Golden, and the second one, these are books 2 and 3 in her Belgrave Dynasty. So you have the 3 that are ATN and Serene's books, which they are their own thing, The Surviving Trace. Then you have the brother to ATN, Livingston, has King of the South, and then these 2 books come after that. So this is the sister to our hero of the first set of books. This is Natalie's book. Natalie and Asa. So Asa is ATN's best friend. They're business partners. They've been friends for years. When we first meet Natalie in The Surviving Trace, she tells Serena, I'm going to marry Asa when I grow up. Like, she's always said that. She's always wanted to marry Asa. But there are circumstances that happen throughout the books that keep them apart. And him being the best friend to her older brothers, and I think there's like a 6-year age gap or something. It's not a huge age gap, but there's a little bit of an age gap. He doesn't want to do that. It's his best friend, and it's not going to work. So they're always kept apart. And so this is their story of how they get together. When we first start out, it is 1920 in Charleston, South Carolina, and she has just shown up from the train station to go break up Asa's wedding to somebody else. And it doesn't happen. So this is their story. The angst, the writing, it is, I mean, just you, and I don't like a pining heroine. I don't like a heroine who's sitting there whining for this guy that she wants. But the way Calla Reed writes this, they both want each other. And also, when you get to reading this, you realize something's a little off about Asa. And I was looking at it on her Facebook group. Asa is supposed to be high functioning, on the spectrum. I think they were saying Asperger's is what it sounds like that he has. Which you don't even realize until you really start to get into the book. He doesn't react to situations like everybody else does. So that also kind of endears him to me. But really, the real star of the book is Beau, their lawyer. If he doesn't get a book soon, I'm going to scream. He stutters really bad. And oh my gosh, he's a young Marlon Brando. That is who she envisions for him. I'm here for it. He won't be getting the next book, which has just been announced. He'll be getting one later. But he is getting his own book. So yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
I could live in this world. This is just so good. And Calla has a Pinterest board. So if you go and look up Calla Reed on Pinterest, her pins, she has them broken down by book. You can see the clothes that she describes in the books because she's very good about being descriptive. And you can see the places that she uses as reference. It's all there for all of her books. So that's always very helpful for me being a visual person. So. Okay, so Mandy, do you have a book that's coming out in July or one that you really want to read in July?
I have so many books I want to read in July, Jessica. So many.
Is there like one that stands out or one that you know that's coming out?
Well, I do know I'm rereading Wild and Free because this is part of it's not part of, it is our buddy read for July with Bookmarked by Jen and Amber Reads Romance. So I'm excited to read this again. I think I read this like when I was first starting to get into reading again. You sent it to me by Kay Webster. So I'm going to be doing a reread of that along with you so we can get ready for her new release of her next book in this world.
Yes. And that should be coming out, I think, in July as well.
I don't think we have a title yet for it, though.
I don't even think we have a release date, but it is coming.
Yes. So I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of books that I want to read. I don't know that there's anything necessarily that's coming specifically that I have a release date for, but just books that I want to go read.
Neva Altai's newest book in her Perfectly Imperfect series will be out in July, towards the end of July. And I know Tilly Cole is teasing Vikings book for the Hades Hangman series.
Ooh.
So there is stuff coming. There's lots of stuff.
All right.
So there we go.
Okay.
All right, guys. So that is our top reads of the month of June.
Okay. Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, or Saturdays for new videos from us, and leave us a comment. What was your favorite read during the month of June?
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video.